Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 119. I'm in Las Vegas right now for a Ceridian event. They're a huge human resources company, and along with HR, they do payroll and scheduling and such. And so I spoke today here at Caesars Palace Convention Center, which is absolutely huge, and this is where I am right now. I spoke to a big audience about the future of work and where we're going with technology. It was a lot of fun, so thank you to Ceridian for having me. I'll play an interview recorded here today at Ceridian's Insights 2019 event, which you're going to hear in the show. I also spoke 2 other times this week. It's Thursday night as I'm recording this now, and yesterday, Wednesday, I was in beautiful Vancouver talking at an Ingram Micro event about social media for business. And on Tuesday, I was in Toronto at a Quadbridge event. They're a reseller of technology for businesses, big and small. But I am here still in Vegas right now. I'm coming home on the red-eye flight tonight. Good time. All right. We do have a great Tech It Out show planned for you this hour. I'll talk with, I don't know why I said it like that, Tech It Out. We have a great show planned for you. I talked with Ceridian, as I mentioned. I'll play that interview about its Dayforce platform and the tech that they're using to make employees and employers happier. We'll learn about a new invention in a moment called Everlet, meant to stop smartphone charger theft. Oh, you know how it goes. You lend somebody your iPhone charger or your Android cable and you never get it back, right? So this invention called Everlet will stop that. We'll learn this hour about Facebook Marketplace on buying and selling your stuff online and why you should use a VPN when you're browsing the web, a virtual private network. So lots of different topics, several different interviews, 4 different interviews, lots to get to. So I hope you enjoyed this week's Tech It Out. Let's kick things off. How many times have you looked for your smartphone charger and realized it's not in the place you left it? Well, if it's anything like my home, one of my 3 kids or my wife Kelly has conveniently borrowed that charger to juice up their phone or tablet. And then, of course, I'm scrambling to find one or a different one. Well, a new invention called the Everlet may be able to help. Joining us on the line to chat is Keith Sisen. He is the inventor of the Everlet charger. Welcome to the show, Keith.
Thanks, Mark.
I was immediately intrigued by this concept. It fell into the why didn't anyone think of this sooner category. So please tell us what is the Everlet and the Everlet 3-in-1.
Well, I think we should start. I heard you mention that you have 3 children. I've got you beat there. I had 5.
Oh, wow.
And so I've got a 4-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 16-year-old. So basically every age. And they really drove me to invent this product. You know, even the 7-year-old is looking to be charged, and the 4-year-old every once in a while will sneak a phone and go off and play. And with that chaos, and I'm also a lawyer, and so being on the phone is pretty important. And one day I missed an important call, looked for a charger, my phone died out, and knew that if I got in my car, at least I could be quiet there and I had a charger. And as I drive away, I realized the cord's been taken. So right away I thought, my wife had taken the charger, but no, it was one of my children. I found out later. They brought it in the house and, realized it didn't work and just left it there. So that was really the beginning of the end where I said, I'm going to take control of this and do something. So I had some discussions with everyone. I said, this is what happened today. This can't happen again. And everyone's eyes just glossed over. Next day, same thing happened again. And I realized, everyone just walks around saying, "Where's my charger?" yelling it. And I finally got fed up and I duct taped mine to the wall next to my bed. And I figured no one would touch that probably within an hour. And if you met my family, this is not a surprising result. But the charger was gone. And that's when I about lost my mind. And that's where the invention was born. I realized that if you took the outlet cover and put the sort of cage around it, made it one piece, you'd at least make people think before they try to take your charger, because they'd have to remove the whole outlet cover. I called a patent attorney buddy of mine, and we sketched it out and filed the patents and different versions of the patents and for different line extensions and things like that. And that's how it was born.
All right. So this is radio. So please explain how it looks. You kind of walked us through a little bit of a white cage, if you will. So it actually screws onto or replaces, rather, the faceplate of your AC plug. Is that right?
That's right. We tried to make it super simple. All you really need to do is remove your outlet cover. You use the same screw, and you affix our product right where the outlet cover used to be. And we made it look, nice enough where it can go in a kitchen, but it ends up being seamless. But you can put it in a more discreet area as well. In our family, in our household, we have 4 Everlets. And they're also fast charging as well. So that sort of helps with the issue. And the biggest thing we've noticed is that we're absolutely silent on where's my charger. And as a parent, it makes you feel a little pathetic. If you take that one issue away, then people start treating each other with a little bit more respect, and there weren't as many fights. It just shows how important the charger is to everyone, kids included, and I mean more specifically their smart device. And it became this, almost it was unbelievable how quiet it was. And I realized no one else has experienced this unless they're duct taping it to the wall, and it basically stops the fighting at that moment. And I knew I was on to something at that moment.
All right, we're chatting with Keith Seisen. He's the inventor of the Everlet charger, and there's also the Everlet 3-in-1. What's the difference between the two?
Well, the 3-in-1, we decided to make the cage of the outlet cover a little bigger as we found a really fast-charging cube to use with this. So you can use your own cube and cord in the wall plate by itself, but the all-in-one puts it all together for you. And so the cord's included, the fast-charging cube, which is extremely fast. And then on the other end of it, we have the 3-headed cord, and it charges any smart device. I even use it to charge my Apple computer, and it's we initially thought, well, why would people want to put all 3, let's say, in their kitchen? But there are so many different devices for families, and also when you have guests come over, unfortunately, they're always asking where the charger is.
It sounds like my house. Yep.
Exactly. So everything's focused on that charger. And the great thing, too, is when people go towards it, they're so excited. Even people that come over to our house and have used the charger before, they just immediately go to that. They get their phone charged, and then they start to, be social. So, I've noticed the change in behavior with guests.
So just to clarify, it's kind of a low-tech solution, is that you can't pull out the cable because of that sort of longer part at the end that we all know, that little rectangular sort of shape that plugs into the cube, which plugs into the wall. So this face plate that you've designed, it just prevents someone from pulling out that cable and walking away with it, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And then the 3-in-1, it has the 3 different options. I'm assuming that's Lightning connection for Apple devices, USB Type-C for some laptops and some Android phones, and then the older micro USB.
Exactly.
All right. So the best website to see this video and to order the product, I'm not sure if it's in retail yet, but why don't we walk through the costs and how we can have it shipped to us? Sure.
It's at everletcharge.com, our website. So EVERLET charge.com. We just, it's $19.99 for the wall plate version. Like I said before, you can use your existing cube and cord. Mm-hmm. And another reason we thought of the all-in-one too, it's that frustrated parent part of this too. That people are taking your charger, and if you buy our product, well, you still have to have a cube and a cord that goes along with it. And most parents aren't going to want to donate to the cause where, they're the victims of the lost charger. So we came up with the all-in-one, and that's an upgrade, and that gives you the charger that's at least 3 times faster than normal chargers and a 3-headed cord, and that goes for $49.99, and it's, I believe, free shipping at this time. Like it happened in our family, when we put one in the kitchen, people congregated around that spot, but they all wanted one in their room. And in fact, one of my sons said, "Dad, can I have 2 of these?" And I said, "Oh, that's great. He must really love it." And I said, "Wait, why?" He said, "I didn't realize this can charge my game console while I can charge my phone over here." And so, I wasn't too excited about saying, okay, more electronics for you, but, he wanted some, 8 feet away from each other.
I understand your product was recognized by someone from Shark Tank. Tell us about it.
One of my friends saw my prototype and showed Kevin Harrington from the Shark Tank. He was there the first couple years, the inventor of As Seen on TV, and he fell in love with the product, and we became business partners on this product. And, he's been great to work with and has really helped. But after I brought the product home and I told my family that I was working with Kevin Harrington, my 80-year-old father was sitting there and he said, "Keith, this is great that you invented this. You actually made it. You're working with Kevin Harrington." He said, "But I've got one question." He said, "Why didn't you just get your kids to listen to you?" And, typical 80-year-old comment, like, "I've got this figured out." And he was right. It's one of those frustrating dad moments where you say, you're right, Dad, but the kids are it's a little different with all the screen time and all that. And so it's been great to work with Kevin. I've learned a ton.
All right. Well, Keith, congratulations on your successes to date. A colleague of yours showed me this product when I was in Chicago, and I thought it was genius. So I wanted to invite you onto the show. So I hope it does really well for you. I think it's going to be a great stocking stuffer for this coming holiday because it complements that one device that we never leave home without, our smartphone. So thanks again, Keith. Congrats.
Thank you very much. Take care.
We have a lot more Tech It Out coming to you this hour. This show is powered by Asus. For those in search of incredible, I'll tell you about them and their awesome computers and other products after this short break. And we've got several other interviews to get to this hour, including Ceridian, Facebook, and ExpressVPN. Stay with us. We'll be right back on Tech It Out.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, powered by Asus, the company that creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, including its line of award-winning laptops, desktops, monitors, smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, and much more. For those in search of incredible, visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. The internet is a blessing for those who like to buy and sell items, as it connects buyers with sellers really easily. And there's a few online marketplaces to choose from. But have you considered the world's biggest social media platform to sell your unwanted stuff or to snag a great deal on something? To talk with us about Facebook Marketplace, we're joined by Deborah Liu. She's the VP of Marketplace at Facebook. Welcome to the show, Deb. Thanks for your time.
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here, Mark.
Awesome. So let's just jump in right from the top. What is Facebook Marketplace all about?
Well, what's exciting is we're celebrating the 3rd anniversary of Marketplace tab launching. So 3 years ago, we had this idea that we could bring together a place where people can buy and sell with each other. And so what we did was we launched this product. It actually started with sale groups. We found all of these mom groups where people were buying and selling with each other, kind of their used kid stuff. And we realized there was something here. And so we started by putting it together in one place and allowing people to list from groups and then directly, and then they can buy and sell right here in the Facebook app.
And it makes sense. People are congregating already on Facebook. So why not have that as the platform for buying and selling stuff? So I get that. So walk us through what it's like as a buyer. Maybe you can just sort of walk us through the process, how you get going.
Yes, so you come to Facebook and you go to the Marketplace tab and you can search for whatever you want. We also suggest really interesting things near you. You could filter by distance and price, and then you just message the seller to arrange to buy.
And you mentioned on the app, but does it also work on the website, facebook.com, like the desktop version?
Yeah, we also have Marketplace available in desktop as well, so it's really easy to get to. Again, you can just search for Marketplace by typing Marketplace in the search box, or on the bookmarks, you can see a Marketplace entry point as well.
Okay, so as a buyer, I'm in search of, a secondhand crib. So I go to the Facebook Marketplace and I can do a search either by product name, by typing that in, or I can look at some groups around me, so I can physically go and drive and pick up that crib. So it's not someone miles and miles away. That's the idea. You could do by keyword, or there's certain categories you can start at, like browse.
Yes, you can browse things around you, but you can also search for very specific products.
Right.
I like to start with just browsing and seeing what's available. And then if there's something specific you want to buy, you can actually just search for it.
Okay, got it. All right. Now, as a seller, Deb, what's the process like? I've got a basement full of stuff or a garage, and why not make some money in the process?
Yeah, so what we do is right in the same place, you can click the sell button, You snap a photo, put in a good description, and then name your price, and it'll be shown to people around you.
It's that easy. You make it sound really simple. Yes, that easy.
And it only takes a few minutes. In fact, what's really interesting is people just see it around you. They can communicate with you through Messenger, and you never have to leave Facebook and Messenger or download a separate app. And so you start getting contacts almost immediately.
Okay, cool. I was going to ask you about that. So Facebook Messenger is such a popular chatting platform that it makes sense that that's one of the advantages to using Facebook Marketplace is that you can easily chat back and forth. Maybe you want to negotiate on the price, or maybe you want to arrange where to meet somebody. So that's something that's built into the platform, right?
Yeah, it's built straight into Messenger. And so it's really easy that you can get all of your messages from anyone who's interested in buying your product.
So with that in mind, then, Deb, we are chatting with Deborah Liu. She's the Vice President of Marketplace at Facebook. We're talking about selling and buying items over the world's biggest social media platform. What are some of the other ways that Marketplace is maybe better than, if, that's my language, not yours, than the likes of a Craigslist or Let Go? Kijiji is popular, especially in parts of Canada, or OfferUp. These other online classified sites. Why use Facebook Marketplace?
Well, I can't speak to what others are doing, but people have told us they find really convenient. It's all in an app they're already using. And you can actually see someone's public profile, including friends you have in common, maybe groups that you have in common. You can also see how long they've been on Facebook as well. And so you can really get to know someone even before you meet up and to trade the item. So if you're selling a car, or you're renting out a place, or you're selling products, it's really helpful to know the other people is a real person who's going to come and meet you and do a transaction.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I've bought and sold things on other online classified sites. You have to set up an account. The person may not be using their real name or picture, so you never really know who you're going to meet. But with Facebook, you're leveraging your existing profile. You can't create another one, right? An anonymous one. Yeah. So that way there's a little bit more built-in trust there. Plus, you can also check out a person's profile before deciding to sell or buy with them, right?
Yeah, so you can see everything that they have shared on their profile, and therefore you can actually build a level of trust. And you can also know it's them when you meet up with them, because you can, they have a profile picture, so you know that's the right person as well.
Right. Okay, got it. And just to be clear, it's not like eBay where you're going to ship the product to somebody. You will meet up locally. Any tips tied to that? I mean, usually when I write articles about online classified sites, I always say to bring a friend along or meet in a public place like a coffee shop, anything like that?
Yeah, I think bringing a friend along makes a lot of sense. Also, making sure that you've had a conversation, where you're meeting up, meeting a safe place. A public place is also very useful. And then also keeping yourself safe by making sure that you do your due diligence before you meet up.
Right. Yep. Research is king. Got it. Okay, great. Deborah Liu, thank you so much for your time. Deborah Liu is the VP of Marketplace at Facebook. Is there a website you'd like to direct us to? Is it facebook.com/marketplace for a web browser?
Yes, facebook.com/marketplace.
Okay, and then in the app, can you clarify again how to find Marketplace inside the Facebook app for mobile phones and tablets?
So if you just search Marketplace in the search box, you'll find it.
Okay, Deb, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back with more Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. How private is your web browsing session? Not very. In fact, even if you opt for your browser's private browsing mode or incognito mode or whatever it's called, yes, it can scrub your history and passwords and such, but your online activity is still visible and saved and could be possibly shared or sold. To truly remain anonymous while you browse, you should opt for what's called a VPN or virtual private network. Joining us on the line to discuss is Harold Lee from ExpressVPN. Welcome, Harold, to the show, and thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Sure. So let's start right from the top. What is a VPN or a virtual private network exactly?
Sure. A VPN is an important tool for protecting your privacy and security online. And I think there's really two key ways that it helps, the average computer user. One is that it channels all your internet traffic through a secure encrypted tunnel, which means that other people who might have access to the network, such as your internet provider or other people who are sharing the same public Wi-Fi as you.
Right.
It prevents them from being able to see what you're doing online. And also because the secure internet traffic goes through a tunnel that goes through one of a VPN servers. Previously, your traffic, which appeared to be coming from your IP address, is now coming from the VPN server's IP address. So it's harder for people to trace that internet traffic online back to you because it doesn't look like it's coming from your IP address anymore.
Okay, so a VPN, generally speaking, can mask your online identity and let you browse the web anonymously. But some may say, well, why do I need that? Why do I care if my ISP, my internet service provider, sees where I'm going online, or Facebook or what have you? What's the appeal of remaining anonymous if you're not doing anything wrong, for example?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I think it's one of the core tenets that we believe at ExpressVPN is that your privacy is a fundamental right. You don't have to be doing something wrong or have something to hide,
right,
in order to want to not have your internet provider see your entire browsing history, or not want people on the same Wi-Fi network to be able to do that. So, I think part of it is privacy and part of it is security. There are things we handle online, today that are very sensitive, whether it's financial transactions or medical information. And, when you're not properly encrypting the connection, whether it's through a VPN or with HTTPS, that information can be vulnerable to hackers and to internet providers and to spies.
Yeah, great point, Harold. Thank you. We're chatting with Harold Lee, Vice President of ExpressVPN. So with that in mind then, Harold, what makes ExpressVPN unique? Because, of course, there are many other VPN solutions out there.
That's a great question. There are a lot of things that we at ExpressVPN do to kind of step up the game in terms of how we protect your privacy and security. So I don't want to go through every single one of them because it's quite a long list, but there are a few things I think that stand out when you use ExpressVPN. One is that we just have a higher level of leak proofing. So the risk of information traveling outside of the protected tunnel that the VPN provides it is significantly improved,
right?
So that there's less risk there. We have a very strict privacy policy on our end to ensure that we're never collecting any information about what you do online, what times you connect to the VPN service, for example. So even if someone were able to access our servers, sees them, hack into them, for example, they wouldn't be able to see what you're doing online. And another important aspect, I would say, is that we have 24/7 live chat customer service, and it's very rare among VPN companies. And we always think, if a security tool is not easy to use, then people are not going to use it.
Right.
So it's very important to us that, the app is super easy to use. You tap one button and you get connected. You don't need to think about it anymore. And if you ever run into any problems, we've got a team ready to help you out in seconds rather than emailing someone and waiting for hours or days to get connected and get secured.
Going back to your first point, I've experienced with some free VPNs out there that it may work initially to connect, and it gives you an IP address from somewhere else, say the US or another country. I've found that it has kicked me off of the VPN sort of mid-browsing session without me even knowing, and thus becoming exposed. And I noticed that with some of the free services out there, I guess you get what you pay for. So I'll ask you in a moment about how much ExpressVPN costs. But that has happened to me, I can tell you anecdotally, and I'm sure I'm not alone. So you're saying that it's a lot more of a secure, solid, more reliable connection once you're in that, as you called it, tunnel, so you can browse anonymously.
Absolutely. So not only is the connection itself more secure, also when you are disconnected, our apps on desktops will actually cut off all your network activity to ensure that no information is traveling without the VPN, without your knowledge. And you'll have to go in and either actively decide to reconnect or actively decide to disconnect altogether before any network traffic gets through.
Speaking of desktops, is ExpressVPN strictly for Windows or Macs, or can you use it on mobile devices?
Yeah, you can actually use it on iOS devices, Android devices, in addition to Mac, Windows, and Linux, and we also have router support. And router support is great and is also quite a rare feature among VPN providers, where you can just set up on your router. You don't need to worry about it every time you're connected to the router, or any of your family members are connected. You know that they're protected by the VPN.
Okay.
And it's the one to mention that we actually have support for some other devices, which is not VPN support per se, but it's proxy support to help your streaming media devices connect to a different server in a different country, for example. So if you wanted to connect your Apple TV or your Xbox or PlayStation, Amazon Fire Stick to a different country to be able to access content that might not be able to be available in your country, you can do that as well with ExpressVPN.
And that's, of course, another popular application for VPNs is the ability to access content in another country. As if you were there, you just choose the IP address for the country you want to be from in order to access that content from that particular region. So I know a lot of people do
exactly.
that. For Canadians, for example, may want to access the US version of Netflix, so they'll use a VPN. I've heard Netflix is starting to catch up on that and trying to prevent that for licensing purposes. But I'm sure it still can be done. All right. Finally, Harold, how much does ExpressVPN cost, and where could we download it?
Sure. Yeah. So everyone can go to expressvpn.com to download it and to learn more. And the cost is, if you pay by year, it's approximately $8 a month. And if you pay by the month, it's about $12 a month.
All right. Harold Lee, Vice President from ExpressVPN. I appreciate your time and your information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Again, the website, expressvpn.com. We'll be right back.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Check it out. Hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We're here at Ceridian's Insights 2019 in Las Vegas. Almost 3,000 attendees cramming into the Caesars Palace conference area. I'm thrilled to be here with Ted Malley. He's the HCM evangelist at Ceridian. That's the Human Capital Management Evangelist. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure, Mark. Glad to be here with you.
You were great on stage this morning, showing some of your customers leveraging the Ceridian technology for human resources and payroll and scheduling and all that. Pretty wild. It was great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's great to see customers be successful and just celebrate together with them. It's really, truly amazing.
Let's just start right from the top. Why don't we first bring everybody up to speed about what Ceridian is all about? And of course, your most popular platform, Dayforce.
Yeah, so Ceridian is a global cloud-based human capital management solution that goes in every country all over the globe. And Dayforce is our award-winning flagship product, which really is an all-in-one system that includes timekeeping, payroll, benefits, human capital management, record keeping, things like performance management, recruiting. The list goes on, and we're not done yet. And we're super excited to see the growth of the company. Really, gosh, in the last 6 or 7 years has been tremendous to see this resurgence of a company that's been around for a long time, but with new leadership, new technology, it's just blossomed and it's exploding, and it's super exciting.
And I am going to talk to you about the technology in a moment, because this is a show about tech. So those who are listening who do run a small business, do they need to be a certain size? Do they need enterprise grade sort of business, or can they use your tools and it can scale with them as they grow?
Yeah, Dayforce is usually suited for companies of about 50 employees and up, and that's just because it's a pretty comprehensive solution. But yeah, we have companies as small as 50 employees and all the way up to a couple 100,000 employees, so it scales really well.
And you have some Fortune 500 companies who use your technology.
We do. Companies like American Express.
Yeah, I've heard of them, yeah.
Yeah. We all have the card. So, yeah. So membership has its privileges, and we're a great partner with theirs, as well.
Now, before we talk about the technology embedded in some of the Dayforce solutions, tell us a bit about Insights. This is a huge event. I mean, it's jam-packed, as I said, almost 3,000 people. These are mostly customers or from around the world. Why does Ceridian put this event on?
Yeah, so essentially it's an opportunity for us to get our large parts of our company and our customers and future customers. We don't call them prospects, we just call them not yet customers. And so we all come together, and we're doing education series on both Ceridian Dayforce as well as topics that are key around leadership and compliance. And we bring them all together to really tune them up and actually celebrate their success successes over the years. So for our customers, I call it our annual family reunion, but it's a great connecting time, customers to each other, customers to not yet customers, and then our whole executive team is here. It's an amazing experience. For 72 hours, we live on power bars and coffee, and it's unbelievable. So it's a blur of activity.
And I'm honored to play a small role being one of the, I think 60-odd speakers that you have here this week. But you've also got some AAA talent. Terry Crews spoke last night, and Julia Louise-Dreyfus is talking today. And I think it's all about adversity. And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so these speakers are amazing. Terry Crews shared his story last night about how he came from a kid in Flint, Michigan to overcoming amazing obstacles. We had Sean Aker this morning.
He was amazing.
Address the team on happiness and really the psychology around happiness and the linking of happiness to success. And then we're going to have Julia Louise-Dreyfus, who is unbelievable, talk to us tonight and give her inspirational story as well. It's fantastic.
All right, we are chatting with Ted Malley, HCM evangelist at Ceridian, human capital management evangelist at the company. We're in Las Vegas at the Ceridian Insights event where they have this family reunion with their customers every year. Let's now talk about technology. So I understand Dayforce, which is, as you said, your most popular platform for empowering companies with your technology, HR, payroll, and the like. Tell us about some of the tech behind the scenes that might be interesting to our listeners.
Yeah, so Dayforce is really a purpose-built Cloud 2.0 technology. It was built for the internet, built with the internet in mind, built to be accessed through a web browser, built to be easy to use and user-friendly. But at the same time, that platform affords us the ability to develop new features rapidly to our customer markets, as well as really have some amazing benchmarking and data statistics around our customers, how they use the product, and as well, we can now start to share best practices through just efficiencies that we're able to report and observe through the system. So it's a very, very powerful platform.
Can we dig down on two of those aspects? One that caught my attention was the ability for employees to be paid when they want, sort of on demand, instead of waiting for that, typical every Friday or every other Friday kind of thing. That's one aspect that I thought was really interesting. And when we return, I'm going to talk to you about the other product that I thought was really neat, another feature rather of the Dayforce platform, and that's the smart speaker integration, being able to schedule or reschedule your time at work using your voice, the most natural interface we've got, in my opinion, the most accessible way to interface with your technology, and with artificial intelligence on the back end, of course. So when we return, we're going to continue chatting with Ted Malley from Ceridian about where we're going in the near future when it comes to these kinds of platforms. Really cool stuff. You're listening to Tech It Out on the Radio America Network. Each week for 1 hour, I interview several guests across both consumer and business technology with the goal to help explain tech in plain English, to help demystify it, not just celebrate it. As you likely know, my catchphrase is to break down geek speak into street speak. If you have any feedback on the show, you have some suggestions for upcoming guests or topic, I'm all ears. You can hit me up publicly or privately. Privately on email is simply tech@marksaltzman.com. That's TECH@MARCSALTZMAN.com. On social media, I'm on all the big platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So you can hit me up however you like and look for Mark with a C, Saltzman. We'll be right back with more Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
We are chatting with Ted Malley, HCM evangelist at Ceridian, human capital management evangelist at the company. We're in Las Vegas at the Ceridian Insights event where they have this family reunion with their customers every year. Before the break, we talked about Dayforce Wallet, this feature coming where you can request money for wages that you've earned, even if it's not on the Friday that you typically get that direct deposit or what have you. Very cool idea. So it could be like Wednesday at 2 p.m. and want to be paid up to that point. You can do so on demand through your smartphone. I think that's really cool. And the other one was voice-enabled scheduling through a smart speaker like an Amazon Echo powered by Alexa. Can you talk to us a bit about that? I don't know how much you want to pull back the curtain, but yeah.
Well, and I'm so glad you're here, Mark, and that we are pulling back the curtains, because on Tuesday this week, David Ossip, our CEO from the stage, announced Dayforce Wallet, which is really this idea that if you have a payroll system that can actually calculate things on demand instantaneously at any time of the day, we're able to take those funds that an employee has rightfully earned, not a payday loan, but it's monies that the company owes me today at the end of my shift, and digitally transfer those to a Dayforce wallet that is just on your phone. So when you think about the future workforce, our millennials being 60% of our population over the next 10 years, this is game-changing technology that it takes a second-generation cloud computing platform to really pull off. So some part of the audience was super excited, those that had lots of millennials already that are having high demand for this. Other parts are maybe freaking out on the compliance side. How do we pull this off? How does the money move? We've got that all figured out based on our rich heritage of money movement, filing taxes for Canadians and Americans alike. It's really a groundbreaking, game-changing technology.
I know, it sounds great. It falls into that why didn't anybody think of this sooner category, right? Now let's talk about smart speakers. I think last estimates were 120 million of these devices in the U.S. alone in American homes. These are, of course, the likes of a Google or an Amazon speaker that you wake it up with a keyword and then you ask a question or give a command. But I understand you're leveraging that technology to help with scheduling. Yes.
So we have built on our own machine learning language that sits on top of Amazon's Alexa, Google Home, Apple Siri, to say, wake it up with Hey Dayforce, and then we have a series of verbs that we've exposed through the application that let you just do things. Look up my paycheck, trade my shift, when am I supposed to work, can I call in sick today? And so from the comfort/laziness of your own couch at home, you can manage your entire shift from the couch with your local Alexa. And it's crazy to think, but the flexibility is there, and we're just using all this technology and packaging it together for employees. So it's for everybody.
Love it. With that in mind, let's play a clip of what that sounds like.
Hello, this is Dayforce. What would you like to do? How can I help you?
Dayforce, who can I trade my Thursday shift with?
Steve Smith will most likely take it. Would you like me to ask him?
Dayforce, generate my usual Friday reports.
I will compile your overtime and engagement reports for you. Check your inbox.
Am I ready to commit payroll?
There are 2 outstanding time card exceptions that need to be resolved by Jason Wright. Would you like me to remind him?
Love it. All right. Where do you foresee Ceridian in 5 years from now? What will the future of work, the near future of work, look like?
Yeah, it's crazy to think about this, but if you look at how in years past, we as software vendors have invested millions and billions of dollars in making these systems more transactionally efficient. Now you can imagine with the emergence of machine learning, artificial intelligence, we're making these systems more effective. And so Dayforce Intelligence actually allows you as a leader to look at all the statistics of the key productivity indicators in your business, and we can give you best practices on how to do better and give you comparisons with how your peers are doing. So if my time to hire is 47 days and the best industry benchmarks of my peers is 32, we can actually help you pinpoint exactly what you need to do in your organization to get better at those. So you're going to see this advanced analytics, not just static reports that I have to go run, but proactive dashboards that tell me where to look in my business to fix problems.
Powered by AI.
All powered by AI and predictive analytics. Yeah. Absolutely.
Amazing. Ted, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on yet another successful Ceridian Insights. Our listeners can go to Ceridian.com to learn more. Thanks again.
My pleasure, Mark. Great to be here. Thanks.
Well, that wraps up another week's Tech It Out. I hope you enjoyed the program, something for consumers as well as for businesses. This show is powered by ASUS. ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, including its line of award-winning laptops, desktops, monitors, smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, and much more. For those in search of incredible, visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Catch up with you next time on Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.